So it is in this context that the modernization, shift, and realignment of the Guyana Police Force must be contextualized. The Guyana Police Force is Guyana's principal law enforcement agency. Its mandate is outlined in the Police Act. It takes the force, tasks the force with the prevention and detection of crime, the preservation of peace, the repression of internal disturbance, the protection of public and private property, the apprehension of offenders, and enforcement of the country's laws. The execution of this mandate entails cooperation between the Guyana Police Force and the citizens. Over the last year, we have seen varied scenarios in terms of public property. And I want to ask the Guyana Police Force to remember in its mandate that the protection of public property is an important component of their responsibility. We have not sat back and looked at the various files in public property without an assessment. And it is a concern, the protection of public property, and we have expressed this concern to the ministry and the Guyana Police Force. The police, in order to enjoy such cooperation and cultivate great trust in its relations with the public, must be able to build public confidence. In my address to last year's annual Police Officers Conference, I emphasized the importance of the police force improving its public image. I urge the need for the force to repair the way in which it is perceived by the public. I also noted that we must do this by reforming the force's organizational structure, restoring the force brand, and recommitting to greater professionalism. Over the past year, I'm satisfied that efforts have been made to reposition the force and improve community relations. I commend the Commissioner and senior officers for efforts made in this regard. However, much more work remains to be done. There have been some incidents which have brought the force into dispute, and which have hurt its attempt to improve its relationship with the public. I anticipate that this year we will see a more concerted, focused effort to develop a medium to long-term strategy aimed at improving the image of the force. I look forward to interventions to boost public confidence in the work of the Guyana Police Force. The police must improve its relations with the communities and citizens. The public is also obligated to support the work of the force. If there is mistrust in these relations, public order will be under threat, because the police will be unable to elicit the degree of support it needs to effectively execute its lawful mandate. On this point, I wish to bring into focus the public communication unit of the Guyana Police Force. It should not be a reactive unit. The unit must be a proactive unit aimed at continuously educating the public, aimed at continuously positioning the work of the force, aimed at continuously bringing issues that are relevant to the execution of the mandate of the police force to the fore. For example, many are asking after the very deadly accident on the Western Route, why is it persons under the influence continue to be a hindrance to public safety. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. But we need an education program that is not one-off. We need an educational campaign on this issue. A campaign that is sustained, one that is built on a communication strategy, and one that incorporates all the avenues in which the public receives information, including our social media platform. So, I would like to see some tangible, not only plans, but some actionable targets in relation to this. The force relies on members of the public for intelligence, information, and support to prevent crime and those engaged in criminal enterprise. This support is vital to effective law enforcement. The public, in turn, relies on the police for service and protection. I must say that high percentage of police action in the just concluded year was based on good intelligence gathering. And I've seen the results of intelligence-led approach to policing. And I want to congratulate all those involved. An effective crime prevention strategy requires that the force make societal interventions to reduce the incidence of crime. Over the years, the Ghana Police Force has been addressing risk groups and working with them to reduce the threat, behavioral threats, and also offering them an alternative pathway. I want to congratulate the work of the Ghana Police Force in communities. Some communities described as at-risk communities. Very proactive and targeted work. And I want to assure the Ghana Police Force that the government will back them with livelihood options and will back them with the necessary tools to give these communities an alternative and help them to be incorporated into the mainstream economy. This is a commitment that the government will give also. The Ghana Police Force has also positioned itself as a catalyst for change. We have seen the excellent work of the police force on issues of the environment, national beautification program, and changing the medians across our country. I don't know that we give them enough credit, both the Ghana Defense Force and the Ghana Police Force, for this type of work. But I want to say that the engineering and developmental arm of both the police force and army has been working very, very closely together. And I must say that one of the tremendous accomplishments in the last year is the extremely great results, not good, great results, as a result of coordination between our security entities and security bodies. And I want to congratulate the heads of all these agencies. And I want to say that from the Jerry has also been played a part in this. And this is a type of relationship building. There is a tremendous improvement, a visual improvement in the relationship and support of members in the joint services, the respect for each other, the support for each other. And this would only resound to the benefit of all the entities under their command. And this is the way that we must embrace the future. We are a small population and it requires us to work strongly together if we are to achieve our common objectives. The force needs all the help it can get. It is no secret that the Guyana Police Force is operating below establishment. It is also known that given the size of Guyana, it is impossible for police divisions to have a physical presence in every community. This limited reach presents challenges for effective policing. The efforts of the force must be complemented by the public. It is for this reason that there is a deliberate policy of my administration to resuscitate community policing groups. The police must expand this initiative so that these groups can act as the ears, eyes, and arms of law enforcement within communities. Work has started on this, but we need to accelerate the pace and progress in this regard. There must be tremendous synergy between what the police force do, how the executive support that, and the judiciary. And I want to propose that we have a strategic session to see how, because the judiciary can also help us to identify areas of weakness. And we can also raise concerns. So unless we can come in a room and we can discuss issues, we can discuss the future direction of the different arms of government and the role and changes that is required, we will not be able to build an intricate model to meet the future requirement. And I want to urge that we convene such a forum in which we can have a closed-door, open, frank discussion, not only discussion, strategy session on identifying cross-cutting issues, identifying common issues, and identifying solutions, and costing those solutions, and working together in bringing those solutions to the table. We must not be in a public debate sometimes on where weaknesses are. We must be able to be in a room and strategically work on those weaknesses, those challenges, and come up with solutions. And I position it here today that we have enough brain power, human capacity in this room alone to do this. And we must work towards doing this very, very soon. We do not need consultancy to do this for us. We are working in the system. We have experience in the system. We understand the system. And more importantly, we know what is required to take the system forward. It is just a commitment from all of us now to do what is required to take the system forward. I want to say to you that you have my full commitment in advancing this charge. The force is being strengthened to better combat crime. It is being recapitalized, including through additions to its transportation fleet, renovations to existing police stations, and the construction of new ones, and the provision of better and more modern equipment. Our intention is to provide policemen and women with the tools to do their job better. So, but we can give and we can present the best facilities. We can present the best environment for work, but we cannot present or change the attitude unless at the individual level we understand what is the attitude that is required for effective policing. You know, if one is to examine the evolution of the force, you will see that sometimes we believe that shouting in a police station is the right attitude. If you go to some police station or past some police stations, you will hear the constables, you will hear them from the road. But communication can be effective through different forms. You can be able to get far more information based on your approach. And this is something that we must pay attention to. We're strengthening the regionalization of the force to ensure stronger regional divisions, which can be more responsive to crime. We're also emphasizing training and improved working conditions for members of the force. Notwithstanding these positive developments, it can no longer be business as usual when it comes to policing. We have to move away from the policy of gradualism, which finds comfort in incremental improvement in crime fighting. We cannot continue on the same trajectory. There must be more rapid improvement to the work of the force. And this is critical. The work of the force is linked to the nature of the economy and the development that is taking place. And we are seeing rapid transformation of the country from a physical perspective, but from an economic perspective too. And if you look at the sophistication of the investors who are coming, it demonstrates to you where Guyana is positioned today. Now, we cannot, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time to gradually climb to what is required of us. So we have to examine what is required of us 2030 and make those changes today. That is the difference in the environment in which we're operating. We have to make those changes today. We have to create the environment today for what is required in 2030. And we have this responsibility to ensure that we do this. Our economy is expanding. Our country is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Aggregate investments, both public and private, are increasing. Citizens are investing in new homes, cars, and other personal belongings. Businesses are expanding. Those making these investments are doing so with the understanding that the country will boost security to protect them and their investment. And if you want to see physically how the country is changing and how your work is becoming even more difficult, you just have to look at various development zones in the country and look at the traffic during peak and off-peak. And you'll see that the traffic build-up is not only now centralized in Georgetown, East Coast corridor, but it now goes all the way down the West Coast, the West Bank, goes down the way to Northeast, even as Cuba, we're having difficulties. So the economy is expanding, but we have a very limited population. So the strategy has to be built on the effective and efficient use of technology, and I'll get to that point in a few moments. Guyana's transformation will be hobbled and restrained unless security is drastically improved. Crime must not become a bugbear of development. It is for this reason that I say it cannot be business as usual when it comes to policing. The Guyana police force must up its game, or streets, communities, homes, and businesses must become safer places, much safer. In order to improve public security, the government will be investing in the technological advancement of the force. It will also be equipping the force with the means, both material and human, to bring about drastic improvements to public safety. Government will also be investing in ensuring a system of rapid and resolute response to crime. Technology has the potential to be a game changer in policing. Over the past few years, we have seen how CCTV cameras have positively impacted our crime fighting strategy. The police have been able to utilize footage, often from private businesses and homes, to help detect crime and to identify those involved in carrying out criminal activities. In order to boost crime fighting, we are resuscitating and expanding the Safe City program. This year, we have allocated $2.5 billion to expand the Safe City program beyond the boundaries of Georgetown. Our objective is to eventually connect the entire country with CCTV cameras and to have these centrally monitored. Information technology will be used to assist our police plans to better map crime and utilize analytics as a crime fighting tool. Face recognition and vehicular license plate technologies will also be utilized to help intercept lawbreakers. Technology is also expected preventable road accidents. Our roads are for moving people safely around. They are not racing circuits or local remakes of the Fast and the Furious. I've already signaled that we'll install fixed speed radars on our main roads so as to identify those who use our roads recklessly and to photograph these infractions. This will be a costly investment, but one that is absolutely essential to stem road harms. We also will be enhancing the force's forensic and investigative capacity. Greater use of forensic and investigative tools will make it much easier for detectives to solve crime. Our intention is to modernize the force's crime-fighting capabilities to align them increasingly with international best practice and standards. I want to also say that the CID had tremendous results in the last year in terms of bringing people, holding people accountable for the crimes they've committed. And I want to congratulate the work of the CID. I want to congratulate the operational efficiency of the force. I think we have much to celebrate, but much also to strengthen and work harder in achieving the results we want to achieve. Among the standards to which our people are entitled is fast response. For too long, we have reports about slowful response to crime by the force. Our intention is to improve the force's communications and operational readiness so as to ensure a system of rapid response to crime reports. The bugbear of slow response will be addressed by ensuring that every division is equipped eventually with modern communications system and with an adequate fleet of vehicles. In order to support the work of the Guyana Police Force, I also asked the Minister to examine how our response system can be linked to private security agencies, because private security agencies are increasing in our country and they have a lot of assets. So if we integrate our response system, then we can also have a response mechanism with private security that is also supported by the government. So this is something that we have to look at in integrating our national pool of assets in our crime fighting strategy. We are investing in the professional development of ranks. A better training force will be in a much stronger position to deliver the results which are required. We are striving for a police force which embraces professionalism. There can be no place for brute force and ignorance in policing. It is also unacceptable for the police to be rude and ill-mannered to the public. As such, great attention is being paid to providing increased opportunities for training both locally and internationally. In addition to many ranks who are on the Gold Scholarship Program, many ranks who are studying at the University of Guyana, we have allocated a further $120 million to boost training in the force. Succession is an important aspect of professional development. I'm aware that some of you are concerned about your promotions. I want to assure you that this matter is being addressed. There are certain legal requirements which have to be met. We are taking steps to ensure that this is done. There is a constitutional requirement that I consult with the leader of the opposition, and this question has been asked. And I said it very clearly that in the appointment of any constitutional office, whatever is required of the Constitution, that is the process I will follow. There is no need to guess or to form your own opinion on this. I wish to emphasize that the operational responsibilities shall remain with the Commissioner of Police. Part of the government shall be to develop effective policies to support the work of the Guyana Police Force. So there are a few issues that I want to conclude on that I would like this conference to take into consideration. And they all surround the theme of restructuring, reform, repositioning, reengineering, repurpose, reorienting, and building a reliable police force. One, I've asked the Minister of Home Affairs to develop a policy on an incentive-based performance system for the Ghanaian police force that is linked to reward. We have seen how this has helped in countries like Rwanda. It's changed dramatically the image of the law enforcement entity and has brought results. So whilst we have an average time of 5 to 6 years for persons moving up the ranks, there must be a mechanism in which emolument is affected other than promotion. So I've asked that we develop an incentive-based performance system. And this must be supported on a mechanism or platform of a highly trained, committed police force. The second issue that we are discussing with development partners is the development of a police academy, not only for Guyana, but a regional police academy. And we are in detailed discussions with many of our development partners in the developed world and in the developing world also on their experiences in this. And we are pursuing a path of the development of a police academy. The third issue has to do with smart policing. The days of boots on the ground, especially in a small population, are really coming to a situation of being outdated. The new dimension of policing is eyes on you, monitoring and intelligence gathering. And that is where we have to position the force. Investment in resources that build the capacity in monitoring and having a situation where we have eyes on you in the development of a modern police force that is on the platform of smart policing. This requires a few things. How do we ensure that people can make a report in an environment in which they are comfortable? So I want to propose a pilot study in which we have digital reporting booths. That is, in strategic areas, we put an electronic booth in which people can go there and write their own statement and make their own report and send it electronically to the police or on a platform. So there is no interface for interaction. So if there is fear in going into a police setting or going into a police station, then a digital platform in the form of a digital reporting booth can help us. So this is something that we should work on as an experiment. Moving to a digital platform for ticketing. We have started this discussion with the Ghana Authority, and on all of our new highways, we're going to incorporate this feature where we can move towards digital ticketing and recognition in terms of speeding, in terms of seatbelt violations and so on. And that system must be automatically linked to the suspension of license and so on. So we now have to make the laws work. We have a lot of modern laws that is there that I won't say ineffective, but it's not giving us the results because the system is not in place to allow the law to give us the results that is needed. So we have to move towards this digital platform, and I want to put Guyana on notice that this is the direction we're going. A common information sharing platform. We have information all over the place. So if someone, for example, you're checking on someone with a gun license, sometimes you have that person in the station for 4 or 5 hours going through manual records to see whether this person is licensed by armed holder. If we have a common information sharing platform, then we can get that. Even for the judiciary, let us say a magistrate sitting down can access that platform this information platform must be one that support the work of entities and support the work of all arms of government. Like I said, I came in a few nights ago, and I saw a few flights on the ground, and we have an advanced civil information system that tells you all those who need secondary check. So you don't have to spend 5-6 minutes on every passenger that comes in. And, talking to the immigration officers, we saw clearing very effectively. But that is not the usual course. And this is something we have to look at. We cannot put the technology in place and then be afraid to use the technology. Or be afraid to use the results of the technology. Then it becomes useless investment. We have to be able to trust the technology also. So then we have the strategic and critical thinking. We have to change the mindset from officers up, from the level of officers especially. We have to make you into strategic and critical thinkers. And we started work on this. We are launching very soon with the University of Vienna a master's program in strategic development studies. It's a program that is supported by the US, and it is a program that will have international backing in terms of content and certification. So we are hoping that a lot of the officers will be part of this program so that we can have a more strategic, critical thinking path to decision making in the Guyana Police Force. The issue of drinking under the influence. Now we have to look at this. I think it requires burden sharing. I've looked at the Canadian model, and there is a concept of burden sharing. For example, a bartender has a responsibility if he is serving alcohol to someone who is a driver, or if someone is at the bar and some responsibility must be on that establishment to ensure that that person who is drinking or under the influence does not enter the driving seat of the vehicle. So I want you to look at this model, and how we can have a system of burden sharing. Because more than 70% of the accidents are caused by persons under the influence. And we have to expand our net in stopping this at the bottom. No, there is no sense we allow them to drive, and then you make an accident. Yes, the law is strong, you can lose your license and go to jail, but the persons are already dead. So how do we build a system that allows for burden sharing, where it must become a part of the culture of our country? A part of the culture, in Canada, the law is so, the burden sharing mechanism is so detailed and deep that if you have a house party and you are going on that home, you have to make certain announcement first. If you're drinking, if you're driving, you're not allowed to drink, consume alcohol. And when the person leaves your home, if you allow them to leave your home in a drunken state, you have responsibility too. If you allow them to leave your home in a drunken state and drive a vehicle, then you also have some questions to answer. That is how we will rapidly change the culture of drinking and driving in the country. Not only by strong enforcement of the law. So we have to examine this. There are already best practices globally. And we must all agree. We must all agree that this is a problem. We have to recognize that this is a problem. It's a serious problem. And sometimes we don't understand the magnitude of the problem until we are personally affected. But as president, I have to communicate with people who go through this pain. And it's one of the most painful experiences, the conversation you ever have. So, I want us to examine that as part of the modernization process. How do we have this burden sharing type of activity? The application of the law, we have to look at communities? How do we support their livelihood, their hygiene, their health? And we have a briefing with the international community. We are not running refugee camps like many countries, in which you cross the border and you're in a chain link fence with razor wire all around you. We are approaching this from a humanitarian perspective. And I think that this is irresponsible if we don't understand the holistic approach. So, after yesterday, they had a briefing with the international community. We've established a high-level task force that is looking at this. It includes the Ghanaian Defense Force, the Ghanaian Police Force, members of the cabinet, the National Security Advisor, regional authorities, the international community. Because we recognize that this is a serious issue. We also have security concerns that we cannot ignore. This issue that I spoke of, that I want to bring clarity on, is the hemp industry. It is my hope that Ghana can develop a viable hemp industry. The hemp industry is not only about hemp production, but it's about having the processing and value-added facilities here in Ghana. And these are industries that can generate jobs. These are industries that bring high value returns in terms of the processing and value-added aspect. Hemp industry is completely different from marijuana plantation, completely different. Now, I made a statement that we need to, and I want to say that I approach things from a very, and my approach is dealing with things in a realistic way. If we have people in marijuana plantation, and all of us know we have a lot of marijuana farms, and we can bring those persons to an understanding that you do not need to go down this road, that we're developing an industry which you can be a part of it, that will give you more returns in a legal way, and you don't have to be hiding and risk your future and your family future. Then it's a net gain for the country. It's a net gain for the country. And I want to have that conversation. And I think that it is the responsibility of the president to lead in some of these areas in creating the level of trust for the transformation is required. So yes, this is an industry that can also help in at-risk communities. Now, an important issue is the realignment of pay scales. I spoke about that in terms of an incentive-based performance system. But we also have to look at the pay scale of the Ghanaian Police Force as against other entities. And we have promised that in terms of realigning pay scale across agencies in the government. Things will get better, conditions will get better, your emolument package will get better, but also with that, we require better performance. Now, the country that is rapidly changing will present to us new road poles, new industrial hubs. The East Coast corridor that we know today will change not only dramatically, but will change beyond recognition by the time we get up to 2030. The eastbound corridor as we know it will change beyond recognition by the time we get up to 2030. The new modern road links and new road networks, new development hubs, the Wales Development Authority, the Gas and Shore Project, the National Digital Platform, the modernization of the aviation sector, new municipal airports, bridging our borders, creating an exclusive agri-production and export zone, new sports and recreation infrastructure, new private sector investments in hotels, shore-based facilities, tourism facilities, condition under which we have to deliver our services at different levels. And we have to start positioning ourselves to be part of this magnitude of change that will take place. These are some of the critical issues that I'm hoping we can address. Our country is also hosting more and more international forums. We just had the energy conference. We just had a lot of state visits. This year alone, we have more than 5 requests for state visits before the end of the year. We have more than 4 international forum expos that want to come to Ghana. We have the FAO, Caribbean and Latin American Heads of Government meeting that is coming to Ghana in 2024. So we have to up our game at every level. From the services industry to policing, we can't have these magnitude of events and changes if we're not ready to showcase Ghana. All of us are part of presenting the Ghana that we want to showcase. There is a personal responsibility that we have, and I think we must all be committed to that responsibility. We will invest in you. We will invest in the infrastructure assets that is needed. And more importantly, we will invest in the people of our country to ensure that they feel a part of what is happening. But more importantly, they see the need of adjusting where adjustment is needed to be part of this development process. Once the people understand that they are part of it, once the people see benefits that will come to them, once we are able to reduce inequality and disparity, we will be able to bring people along. And once we bring people along, then inherently in every human, they want to do better for themselves and their families. And once we present the opportunity for them to do better for themselves and families, they'll be less inclined to criminal ways.